Welcome back to Bull Sessions here on 680 KFEQ. Got a question that you want Brad to answer on the show? Got an idea for the show? Email the guys at bull@willcross.net. Now, here's Randy Baker and agronomist Brad Law.
Showtime again, Brad.
All right.
We was talking. I kind of forgot what we was talking about.
We
started
were talking
rambling
about hiring you to build fence. We were on the custom
for $2 and something. You can get for driving a steel fence post.
$2.60 is what the Iowa Custom Farm rates were showing for driving a steel fence post.
Yeah,
and we said that building fence was $15 a rod for barbed wire. No materials.
What was you looking up on your phone a while ago while we was at our commercial break?
Well, I did something dangerous. I asked Siri how long a rod was.
Okay.
And
now
you didn't look at images, did you?
No image
That's
searches.
probably a good idea.
We're nervous now, aren't we, Miles?
But here it says, the rod or perch or pole is a surveyor's tool and a unit of length equal to 5.5 yards, which is 16.5 feet, which is 1/320th of a mile or 1/4 of a surveyor's chain.
Okay, we got that.
You got that.
We understand. I got a tape measure that does that. No, I don't. I do not.
Well,
we don't do it by the rod. That's much too complicated.
Okay, and anyway, the last time I had the tape measure, I was trying to make a little craft project for the wife.
Yeah.
And I cut that board 3 times, and it was still too short.
Still too short.
Still too
good.
short.
You bought your tape measure at the truck stop that day when you were shopping for her a gift, right?
No, I went back and bought one that had those little marks on it that told you.
One big mark and 3 little ones. That's how you measure.
One thing that was on here, we were talking about tillage.
Yes.
And one of the schemes I had when I was just maybe 5 years old, I got to drive the 4-wheeler. We had a Yamaha 4-wheeler, and I got to drive it. And one of those that was really safe, that if you had sandals on, you got to let off on the gas and then reach down with your hand and pull the shifter up.
Yeah. Really safe.
But Dad had the idea that we had a farm that needed some rocks to be picked up.
Okay. Most farms do.
Okay. Everybody's got some places that, there's rocks or something that needs picked up. And he strapped a bucket to the rack of the 4-wheeler, and he went over there to work some ground, and I went over on the 4-wheeler, and I was going to get paid to do this, Randy.
Really?
You know, we negotiated.
$2
no
a rock? Or?
I negotiated 5 cents a piece to pick up a rock.
5 cents a piece.
5 cents a piece.
Okay.
Okay. There's just one little definition that Dad and I had differences of opinion on.
I bet.
What defines a rock that is worth 5 cents picking up?
You're picking up pebbles.
He's thinking rocks bigger than my cell phone.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
That's generous.
Well, I'm thinking of how can I get rich picking up rocks at 5 cents, because I'm 5 years old.
Yeah.
With inflation, that'd be like.
Field looked real big then too, didn't it?
Yes. Well, there were some places that had washed along the edge.
Yeah.
And there were these little bitty white rocks.
Pebbles.
Yeah. So I went straight over there and started filling the bucket.
I can see you doing that.
Little bitty rocks.
I can see you doing that.
Because he didn't specify what consisted of a rock or not. But, that's one thing.
Like my contract is with you. That's why it is so intricate and takes an entire law firm.
Oh, and you were worried I was going to say a bad word about
I did.
rocks.
Don't say bad words, please.
Okay. I won't call the rocks what my dad called them.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
But we're picking up the rocks, but okay. The excessive tillage, if we start washing things away and we have rocks.
We do.
That's something you look at, rocks in bean heads.
They don't get along. You know that, don't you?
No, you find those, and then you can knock out sections, you can knock out guards, And
you told me right before the show you get to go after the show's over
put a new section in the combine
because you hit a rock.
I hit a rock on one farm, and
You was talking about this tillage deal. All of my ground has always been no-till until last fall. Tore it up this spring from the field cultivator across it and planted. But I noticed there's a lot of rocks out there. I'm going to have a job after we get the beans out.
I think Grammy needs a Ranger, and she could drive, and you could throw them in the back, couldn't you?
I could, but Grammy would also want 5 cents a rock probably for pebbles.
Well, you can tell her that's how you can justify the Ranger
There
for
you
her.
go. You're always thinking. You're always
Maybe you could get the grandchildren to help.
They would help.
And you could pay them $1 a rock.
It's different times. It's $5 a rock now.
But, you know, that's one of the things we look at the pluses and minuses of how we can do it.
Yeah.
You know, we can have
Yeah.
headaches from our cover crop can give us extra headaches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tillage can give us headaches of its own.
It can.
You know, I hate seeing a field that's all worked up and perfect, and then we get a 2-inch rain.
No.
That makes you sick to
Yes.
see that.
Yeah.
So where's that happy medium? You know, if we go and deep work that ground every 3-5 years,
Mm-hmm.
that might be something that will help, you know, work, or take a portion of our land. Because by the time we get done combining,
Yeah.
and we get grain in the bin or grain to the elevator, and if you have any weed or if you have a cover crop, put that in. How much time do you really want to spend in the tractor that fall?
Right.
You know,
You don't.
so it gets hard that you want to stay motivated on that. So let's look at, okay, if I'm taking a portion of my acres and I'm deep working it every year,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to move to the next field and, you know, move that around. And if I get a good fall, maybe I can get more acres in. Because I saw this year, the beans were so much better. You know,
Yeah.
last year where I no-tilled some corn versus where we worked the ground,
Mm-hmm.
those two different plots were 50 bushel difference.
I've had a lot of our farmers, you know, talk about their work ground done better this year.
You know, and it was, you know, we were dry there in June, but we did get quite a bit of rain otherwise throughout the year.
A lot more ground got worked because of the preventive planting that was last year, the weed problem and so forth. So a lot of people that no-tilled, they worked ground this year. And they're saying that they think there was a benefit because some of that ground had been no-tilled for 15, 20 years.
Well, and then you look at, one thing I like is the smell of work ground.
I do too.
Okay.
I think everybody that farms does.
Well, you go, and I have another memory from that is when the day I graduated high school, we had the ceremony and everything. We had the little party. And then after everybody left, Dad and I went out, and we went down to one of the fields, and it had dried out enough where we thought we could start planting. Well, I went, and I climbed in the tractor and field cultivator, and I worked a little 5-acre field, and he come down and filled the planter, and he started planting.
Mm-hmm.
But that was...
On your graduation night,
on
you had to go to
graduation.
work?
And it was my idea. I'm like, let's get the beans in the ground. Let's go.
You have always been somewhat weird, haven't you, Bradley?
But, you know, that was fun. We were
Yeah.
both there, and
Yeah.
that's one of those fond memories.
Sure.
And it makes it hard for me to move away from tillage with those memories.
Well, sure. But there's a time and a place for it. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I love nothing better than no-till wheat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, into bean stubble, go out there and drill wheat into
Yes.
it. That works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and no-till double crop beans into the wheat stubble, that works. You know, you just need a rain to get them up.
I think we got to get away from this one-size-fits-all. I mean, we've always had, you've got the guys at the coffee shop or the feed store or whatever, and they're saying, you know, no-till is the only way. I've been doing it 20 years. And then there's the tillage people that it's every single year. I don't know where the happy medium is, but it's like rotating crops. Rotate your fields maybe. I don't know. Is that a thought?
We have to keep our mind open.
Yeah.
And that's hard because we get into a pattern and we like that habit.
A comfort zone.
A comfort zone. But we've got to keep our mind open and see, oh, well, that was good. You know, oh, well, I've got that old chisel down in the fence row where I was at an auction. This ripper went cheap. Well, where we filled those trucks out, maybe I should, you know, and run through that field. You know, run through that area. I'm not work the whole field, but bust up there, or oh, maybe along that hedgerow, I should go along there and maybe work that up with a chisel or ripper to try to bust. And I've pulled up some little hedge roots, and I've also had to run and go get new bolts to put.
That's always part of it, though.
It's part of it.
That comes with it.
You've got to look and see what each section of the field needs. What could I do to make this better? They're not making any more ground.
No.
No.
We've got to utilize what we have and take care of it. We've kind of quit doing that, I think, in some cases over the years. The bigger we've gotten, those things go to the back burner a lot of times.
Well, we can't, you can cover a lot of acres when you just pull in, plant it, spray it, come back, spray it again, and then pull the combine in.
You bet.
But is there some times that we could maybe get more yield if we manage some things?
I think so.
Like, this spot, maybe I've got one field that needs terrace. Okay. When it makes sense, we're going to put terraces in there, but it may be a 3-year deal to put all those in. But that's what that field needs to make it better. We got soured on some terraces after they laid them out like my 2-year-old drew on a piece of paper. But how can we make that better and keep that soil on the farm? We don't want it down at the Gulf of Mexico.
It don't need to go to the Gulf of Mexico. We was talking earlier about comfort zones and so forth. All through life, we got to get out of our comfort zone. I mean, I heard a saying once that said, the best fruit is out on the limb. We have to take a chance sometimes. If we've been no-tilling forever, and I read a deal a while back where some of the no-till ground is going the other way on yields. But, I set that up for my Bible verse.
You did.
I did.
Are you going to talk about a cursed disc?
No, I'm not. I'm going to recite Psalm 104, 13 through 15. He waters the hills from his upper chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of your works. He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and vegetation for the service of man, that he may bring forth food from the earth, and wine that makes glad the heart of man, oil to make his face shine, and bread which strengthens man's heart. We will see you next week on another edition of Bull Sessions on 680 KFEQ.
Thanks for joining us for Bull Sessions, brought to you by Willcross Seed. Randy and Brad will be back next Saturday morning, tackling more topics from farming to livestock, soil to seed, farm equipment to rural life. So be sure to join us next Saturday morning, same time for Bull Sessions, right here on 680 KFEQ.